Well, hello, folks. We've made it to another Friday. It is Friday the 17th. Cheers. The wheel of life keeps turning. The clock keeps ticking for us humans. People keep leaving the planet. Michael Conaway asked me if I had heard about the member of 24/7 Spies being murdered. Well, of course. Jeez. But I didn't feel a need to say anything about it. I don't have any of their records. I'm glad that they had some success at what they did. I don't have any of their records. The singer of Flash, the band that Peter Banks started after he was fired from Yes, their singer died recently. But the big one that's really crushing people right now today is David Lynch, the filmmaker artist. Rest in peace. I've said many times I'm not a film buff, and I'm not. But I went through a period, I think, like a lot of people, when you're young and you're absorbing the world and you're trying to know about things, that I got into underground cinema and wanted to see those movies, like, List and, have you seen this? And so I saw Eraserhead a long time ago. If I remember this correctly, an old roommate of mine years ago, Dean, had an Eraserhead party, and that was the first time I saw the movie. I'd watched it again since. Inscredible, really hard to make sense of. Weird. But I was never a fan of Twin Peaks because I'm not a TV watcher, and by the time Twin Peaks came on, it just meant nothing to me. But I see, that David Lynch's impact on culture has been large. If I understand correctly, the whole police story type of TV shows like CSI and all that stuff were inspired by Twin Peaks, if I got that straight. I do have Julie Cruz's album, Floating into the Night. I love the music. And of course, visually, David Lynch's work is stunning. But I've never seen Mulholland Drive, not really interested. People say it's one of the most beautiful movies made in the 20th century. Well, that's nice to hear. But a lot of times I really don't care about the story. And I'll be honest, I don't care, And Blue Velvet was too creepy. I walked out. It was too creepy. It was like, I don't want to feel like this. That's the power of his art. So that's what I'll say. David Lynch strikes me as the sort of person that I would have loved to have met. And if he were like in my neighborhood, I'd love to have him for a neighbor. Rest in peace, David Lynch. I see it's Friday, so I'll have to check in and see what Mr. Michael P. Dawson's video is of the week. Sometimes I feel like think about doing that. Well, I'll just go down to making one video a week. Wouldn't make any difference to you folks, would it? If I'm not here, right? I'm just here talking. Cheers. So, I like this comment. I like hearing about it. The person said, time is a funny thing. I liked this video for it made me think. That's a real good thing, being intelligent, thoughtful, measured. Yeah. Time is a funny thing. And the more that science looks into it, the more it seems that time is just a construct of our experience. That time is not actually a real physical thing. There's the whole idea that if you could somehow step out of the picture that we live in, you would see that all of reality is happening all at once, or that it's just a state. But I don't know that. It's a theory. Makes sense to me. So just right quick, folks, I would really like to have to go to the post office to send you some CDs that you've bought. And my Bandcamp site, it's, I don't know if there's going to be a Bandcamp Friday this year at all. So every Friday I'm going to ask. Excuse me, I had a couple folks say, yeah, I'm going to buy one, but I haven't seen your purchases yet. These are the two newest ones, Here and Sonicity. I still have The Muse, and I still have Interlude. And my album on vinyl, the one that's still in print, Future Still, is available through that label. It's linked on my Bandcamp page, and there's one other CD put out by Randy LeMasters called The World is Burning. That link is on my Bandcamp. I would love to have to go to the post office today to send off some CDs. Pick one up. So that whole thing of time, yes, for a while there I was talking about working with Hank Red, who was with Stevie Wonder. Well, I still hear from Hank Red, but Hank's in his 80s, and he unfortunately is having steady health issues. That's why we haven't done anything. He just called me recently and said, I ain't done. I ain't dead yet. I want to finish what we started. I like that. But mortality is on my mind. It is. And I think it's just a natural thing to ponder at my age. People my age are dying all the time. And my closest circle of friends, most of them are dead already. It's a sobering thought. So I'm just extremely thankful to be here. Extremely thankful for every breath. So what records can I show you? What records have I really played? Well, I haven't played these, but I'll show these since they're sitting out. On the Facebook music groups, the only thing I posted yesterday was a picture of this Jesus and Mary Chain single, I Love Rock and Roll. I don't have it because I think the song is that good. It was like just, it came up in my buying. I think I got it for maybe like a buck. And this is one that was sent to me years ago by a person who watched me in Australia. I wouldn't be surprised if that person is passed away. I do get the sense that a lot of people who watch me are my age and older. But this Beatles Request EP from Australia with Long Tall Sally, I Call Your Name, early stuff, Please Mr. Postman and Boys, those are sitting out. I haven't gotten back to the other new Discus release, the XU. I've played it once, but I have come back to this already, Eclectic Maybe Band. This comes out next Friday. Get this. If you say that you are interested in deep listening, modern progressive music, even classical music and jazz, this is deep listening. This is quite a work. Guy Seggers, formerly of Universe Zero's band, Eclectic Maybe Band, Cosmic Light Clusters. That shit is good. That shit is good. Cheers. I got a couple records sitting out here. What do we have sitting out? One of them I meant to look up to talk about, but I haven't. So when we get to it, I'll just do it. I had a hankering for some Roxy music. I really like Roxy music, and I still remember talking about time. There are memories, although they're ancient, they're still so fresh, the memories. Like when I first saw the first Roxy music album, and then when I heard it, I was perplexed, but I liked it, but I was also perplexed. It's like, what's really going on? This is when they're still real good. Stranded, this is a good album. Good album. No need to comment on the model on the cover. That story is all well known. Had been my section where my Van der Graaf generator is right over here. The V's, T's, S through W and stuff is over here. So I see the spine, and it will be telling me to play me, and I've been ignoring it for a long time. Finally played this for the first time in a long time. H to He Who Am the Only One. Now this is my second. Well, actually, it's probably my third copy of this because this is a fresh memory. For a summer, I worked in Port Aransas, Texas, the Padre Island, at a Bible camp, and also as a cook. And I bought this down there in Texas, the U.S. version on ABC Dunhill of H to He Who Am the Only One. Helium to hydrogen, hydrogen to helium, correct? And this is a replacement because my original copy was this with the white cover as opposed to the UK. When I first got the album, it was over my head. I wasn't paying attention to the lyrics, and I thought that Peter Hamill sang too much. And yesterday was a wonderful experience. This album is powerful, and the stories and the imagery in his words are very strong. And Peter Hamill is quite, he's something. Love the gatefold. Great music. Killer. Lost. Pioneers Over Sea. House with No Door. Every song on here. I love the music. I love David Jackson's horn on here. I was talking to James about the sax, where I'm more interested in hearing trumpet and flute and sax, but maybe if I could get him to play not like David Jackson, but more from that frame of mind as opposed to the R&B bass that he plays from. I don't particularly want that flavor in my music. That Van der Graaf Generator album is fantastic. Here's one where I took a chance on it. I'm glad I did, and been needing to play it all the way through yesterday. Really enjoyed it. Synergetic Voice Orchestra. This is some kind of ethnic music. Excuse me. The names on the back here look to be Japanese. I couldn't tell you that it is specifically Japanese by listening to it. It sounds Eastern, but it could be, from another place. Interesting blend of the traditional cultural instruments and sounds with Western pop sensibilities. Some of this is a bit cringeworthy, but mostly it's beautiful. Like the color, too. This is something I think I took a chance on. I saw it at Grapefruit, and it was the visuals. These are my favorite colors, orange. And so when I saw this, I asked Simon about it. I forget what he said. I think it was positive. Glad I bought it. It's beautiful. Synergetic Voice Orchestra. Played this all the way through. It starts off with it's the free redesign or remixed actually, and it starts with a Danger Mouse Murs remix with a rap about a black boy getting in trouble in the system. And as I listen to it, it's not enjoyable because it's just a reminder of just the injustice that we live with, that I've personally experienced. I enjoyed the overall album, and the standouts to me are the Stereolab High Llamas remix of Harv Daly Hicks. I like the free design. Vocal group from the 60s. What else we got here? So here's one. Last thing I have that I played yesterday, besides, again, another studio day. Loving it. Here's one where I was in the F's and said, well, I wonder if it's time for this to go. Thankfully, no. My bullshit detector is pretty good. David Friesen and John Stowell, Through the Listening Glass. Duets, double bass, and guitar. Not boring, not typical. These folks are real musicians, real players. They're listening. They connect on this album. I really enjoyed this, and I was thinking to myself, oh, yeah, I'm going to get tired of this pretty quick. No. There's also soprano sax on here by Gary Campbell. This is quite good. What year is this? So in Inner City. Inner City did a lot of licensing, 70s and 80s, from all over the world, jazz and progressive stuff. This is a good one. So again, that's another plus of having the collection and hanging on to things, because things will reveal their value over time. They will. Okay. So the last thing I wanted to say is I do interact on Facebook. I'm not leaving it. I'm not on Blue Sky. I'm still on Twitter. I'm not on social media to talk to people, to have conversations. I just like to share little tidbits, look at records, etc. And so sometimes when I make comments, sharing my opinion, especially about world affairs and politics, I'll get comments from people who don't really know me, but I've worked with, and so we kind of know each other, and they'll see me post something, and their response will be to give me advice, which I hate. I don't want unneeded advice. But to tell me, oh, just go read a book and listen to music, is like, oh, just go stick your head back in the sand and pretend nothing's happening. Well, I'm aware that the machinations of politics and rich people and powerful corporations will go on, and it's completely out of my hands to do anything about it. But to completely ignore what's going on is part of the problem, which is that, oh, everything's just fine. I can buy my gas is supposed to go down. We'll see. I was saying this in the other day in my conversation with Nick, how I have an overview, and I think it's good to have an overview of the world, but a perspective on things that are happening. But I never forget to bring that perspective back down to the personal, which is what I'm talking about. The only power that I truly have is in the actions that I do daily, how I conduct myself and how I live my life. I can't go to Washington and change things. I don't have any power. And the so-called power that we common people have is the vote has been corrupted horribly by people who have not really bad intentions. So I watch things, I'm aware, I speak out, hoping for some kind of positive change, or to see a flame lit under people's asses, where it's like, we can protest, but I wish there was more we could do. It does seem that we're powerless to change things in a big way because of financial, economic power and who has it. I don't worry about it. I'm just aware of it. It's part of my nature. I'll finish in a second here, but as I was being raised as a boy, I was, my grandpa was a minister, and it's in my nature to want to do the right thing and to want to share. People recognized that when I was a little boy, he's going to be a preacher. And I tried to, and then I found out about all the corruption in the churches, both Baptist and Catholic. Been down both those roads. It's the same in both. Really sexually corrupt. Both the church is just a hotbed of sin. So it's in my nature to think about and talk about things that I care about. And I care about the world and people. Unlike people who are obviously in power. This is another thing that came up in the conversation with Nick. Because Nick, my young white friend, he doesn't understand racism. He really does not see it. he comes from a time period when it was assumed that everything was fine now between blacks and whites and racism was over. It's just not. So it's just something I talk about. It's part of my experience. Okay, so I'm kind of losing my train of thought. It's time to stop. Folks, at the risk of wearing it out. So here's another record I put out last year with Brian Day, Woven Territories. I'm sold out. He still has some at the label Public Eyesore. But I still have Interlude. This is still good. I still have this. I still have The Muse. This is gone. Sold out. These others eventually will be sold out. This has been gone for years. Dereck 3. And I have it on vinyl too. So I'll stop there. Okay? Family, I'm thinking about you. My sister told me yesterday, don't worry about us. I'm not worried about you. I'm just pissed. You're out there in California, and California is it's just like, it's like hell. I'm just going to go ahead and say this. If you see this, Stephanie, I've been hesitating to share this. But when we were still kids, teens, and all y'all, James, you, Stephanie, and Adrian, even Patrick, talking about going to California, go to California. I never bought into it, and I had not dreams, but I had visions. I'm just going to share it now because I saw it. What you guys are going through with the fires and I just saw California as being a hellhole and not the golden land of opportunity that y'all keep trying to tell me that it supposedly is, and I know that it is, but not for me. I knew I didn't have to go to California to realize my musical goals because I wasn't trying to become a star. I just wanted to make music, and I am making music. Okay, talk to you later.